So this is Martin Bryan with a quick unboxing and review of the G1on from Zoom. For those of you who aren't familiar with Zoom, they've been around for quite some time making high quality microphones and microphone/4-track recorders used for live performances. They've also branched out into video cameras that record in HD and have their high quality mics attached. And I own one and I'm very happy with it. So when I saw that they had a multi-effects processor, I thought it'd be worth checking out, especially since it's only $50. So what we'll do is we'll take a quick listen to some of the patches and see what they sound like, and then we'll come back and talk about the pedal itself, the controls, and give you a little idea of how that works and whether or not it's a good value for the money. But I will say, from my initial tests, I'm really impressed with how some of the patches sound. So this device has over 100 patches. We'll only talk about a handful of them here. Thanks. To enter tuning mode, press both pedals simultaneously and it will engage the chromatic tuner. Now, the chromatic tuner works just as you would expect, very similar to any clip-on tuner that you've used, and it is accurate, no doubt. The mechanics are pretty easy, but the biggest problem is it's hindered by this LED display that's used on the unit. For those of you who aren't old enough to remember LED displays, they were the first displays that were liquid and small enough to be put on devices such as watches and calculators, and they always had this orange background, which, to be honest, is very, very difficult to read. And although this is a new device, it gives it a real kind of like 80s feel. It's also very difficult to read and the contrast isn't great. So although this feature works, I couldn't really see using this as a pedal on a floor. I think it would work great on your desktop in order to do recording and things like this. But I can't see anybody using any of its functions at a gig with low lighting with this kind of cheap display. I'm sure that was done intentionally to keep the price down, but yeah, it's just not very. So patch editing is really pretty simple. It's not a problem at all to edit patches. Basically, you use the control wheel and the enter button on the patch you want, and then it will show you all of the components. It will show you either the pedals that are involved to get that sound, or the cabs, or a combination of both. And then all you have to do is use the keypad on the right to go over the pedal you want and press enter, and then you can change the characteristics or configurations of that pedal. You can't really modify the cab, which makes sense. You can replace it with another cab, but you can't edit the cab itself and change its parameters. Here's my final thoughts on this pedal. For 50 bucks, it's a lot of fun to use, and it definitely has some great sounds. The major drawback of this pedal is this crappy display. It really takes it out of the possibility of being used for any kind of gigging musician, whether you're just jamming with friends or if you're on a stage with any kind of lighting conditions. It's just not going to be usable. So you won't be spending $50 and then replacing your entire pedal board. Where I think this really comes in handy is if you're just noodling and you want to figure out basic thumbnails of a new tune or use the looper function to practice a jam, it's great. Also, if you're going to be doing any DAW applications and you're not comfortable with the VSTs, sometimes they're not very good, or you have to spend money to get better ones, the sounds you get out of this are really pretty good. They do sound a little digital, but I think the best application for this is home recording and audio for video editing. So for 50 bucks, it's definitely worth that for that application. Thanks. This has been Martin Bryan. Please hit like if you enjoyed this at all, and subscribe. It really helps. Also, feel free to leave comments, good or bad.